quorum. Kind of stand for a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First order of business is the certificate of appreciation of the Cape Charles Business Association. Let me read this certificate. This certificate is awarded to the
So you come on.
Okay, this is given.
Go over there with us, we can get your picture taken.
I like this stuff, so you know why. This is a certificate of this is a certificate of appreciation awarded to the Cape Charles Business Association in recognition of their efforts in organizing the very successful Festive Fridays, which were held from March 25th through December 23rd, 2016. So thank you all very much. Great job. And anybody that walked up and down Mason knows this thing. Knows it was wonderful. It was really good. It was just seeing all the people and Santa Claus, Mrs. Claus, and it was a great thing.
Can we get a picture together real quick? Post a little bit more. Thank you.
Main Street issue and the holiday has the floor.
How are you all?
We are fine. Thank you. Welcome.
Well, since I just gave a pretty good update at the work session, I'm not going to go through that in the minutes. Lily did a great job of including all those for everyone in the audience that would like kind of a more detailed overview. But the exciting news is that we are launching the kickoff to the Road to Main Street on March 1st. And you can pick up a poster back in the back for a really great speaker that we have coming, John Schallert, who is just going to knock the socks off of everyone. It's a great community event, as well as, of course, a business event. We're doing a specific event for the businesses the following day. When I was here last Thursday, you guys asked that the ad hoc committee come up with a timeline, and you should have that in front of you. Lily was kind to got it to her late, so you couldn't have it in your electronic stuff, but you have it there. If you just want to glance over that and see if you have any questions. We try to be very realistic and true to what could take place, and so applications will go out on March 1st at the event, and they're due March 31st for the Community Enhancement Board. Any questions or?
I have one request.
Sure.
And it is not just for you, but for everyone in the room. Please spread the word about all these events. Talk to everybody you can, and if you bore them and they say they've heard about it already and they're bored and they know all about it, that's fine, but please make sure that this word gets out. For whatever reason, sometimes important things like this don't get quite as much visibility as we would like them to get. We'd like the whole town to be active in this, as much of the town as possible.
I think it's really good because you said that, George, because it isn't just for businesses. And I think sometimes people think Main Street literally is our Main Street and retail business. And this is far beyond that as a community.
Well, and as I understand it, the plan is that people from the county are also very welcome
Yes.
to be part of this. So anyone who you know who does not live in Cape Charles, tell them too. Let them know all about it. And even if they don't want to participate in Main Street talk and listening to this guy Schallert talk, could be very useful.
It's going to be a very entertaining night, if that's the only reason you come. He is incredibly, incredibly motivating, and even from a personal level, I think people will take something away from it in getting us started. So I think it will get us invigorated and ready to go. There'll be a lot of ways in which you can share notes about the events. There'll be the poster online, there'll be Facebook, as many times as you can share those things with your friends. That would be great. Libby's going to have it in the Gazette. Sherry hasn't mentioned it there, but a poster will be there. So just spread the word that way. Thank you, George. It's a good reminder.
Great, thank you very much. Any questions from council? Comments? Okay, good. The schedule looks good, thank you. Next order of business is public comments. Are there any public comments?
Sorry. I'm sorry.
Good evening, my name is John Andrieschi. I live at 3 Palmer's Landing in Cape Charles. I am the Finance Director for Northampton County and the Unum County Administrator. I'm here, Chairman Murray would be here tonight, except he's got some business he's attending in Richmond. So, asked me to come here. I'm here to express the county's strong support for the Cape Charles Brewing Company project. We view this as an outstanding opportunity to put Cape Charles and Northampton County on the map. We see great benefit both directly and indirectly, directly in tax revenues and jobs, indirectly in exposure to the whole area, Cape Charles, the county. And we just ask that you do everything possible to make this endeavor a success. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else?
Terry Ellison.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of council. My name is Terry Allison, and I'm the Executive Director of the Eastern Shore Tourism Commission. And I'm here speaking on behalf of the Tourism Commission to underline what Mr. A said, the direct and indirect potential of this product is immense, but it also puts together, brings a product here that is a missing piece for our puzzle as a tourism destination, because the craft beer market and destination breweries are so important, and we've been wanting this to happen for a long time. And we're very excited that there's both one hopefully coming in here and one in Cape Charles, one in Chincoteague, so we'll have a beer trail, so to speak. And then as a private citizen, I'm also tickled to death, and I've seen that resonate with people throughout the community. So thank you very much. If you can pull any lever that you can in order to make this happen in a strong partnership and collaborative way at the Eastern Shore of Virginia, this will be a game changer. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Scott Michael.
Yes, I just wanted to bring to y'all's attention 4 bills that were recently introduced by Delegate Hessel and R.O. Bloxham. These bills have to do with the rolling back of overregulation on commercial fishermen. I would love it if y'all would look at these maybe sometime in the future. Not sure if you're aware of them or how they're going through it, but commercial fishing has a huge effect on the town of Cape Charles, and it's really big. It has a great history in Cape Charles. When I was a kid, you used to be able to go to town of Cape Charles and walk across the commercial fishing boats in the harbor. Due to overregulation, it's kind of dwindled back to a bare bones. Different localities around the bay, Coast and Northumberland, and a couple other towns on the Western Shore have been speaking out publicly in favor of these different bills. I have them in order there as they've been going through the Senate, kind of getting watered down and everything. I would just love to see Cape Charles become aware of these changes in commercial fishing and possibly speak out in favor of these bills and try to help the original ones get through. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Chris Tucker.
Hi. Chris Tucker, 29436 Ryan Lane, Cape Charles. The last time I addressed this body was as the Economic Development Director, and I came to tell you about the SET project, the Stronger Economies Together, and how we were using that to try to get a grant. That part of that 12-month planning process was identifying 4 sectors of the economy that we sought to strengthen as a region. 3 of those 4 sectors are embodied in the Cape Charles Brewing Company. This is exactly the type of company that I set up to try to attract to this community. And when Mark called me a year ago, I was delighted to receive his call. When he called me, he already had a site set up in Suffolk. He already found a location. He had already got incentive packages, which were, I have to say, a lot more than we can offer here. And he was ready to go forward, but his heart was on the shore. His family was on the shore, and he wanted to start the business on the shore. So he asked me what we could do for him. And I told him that while we couldn't match the incentives, what we could do is match the enthusiasm. We could welcome him with open arms, and we could do everything possible to make it a success. And from what I've seen, we've been able to do all of that over the past year. This hookup fee has been the only stumbling block. I know you're doing everything you can from your end to work on that, but I just really want to emphasize this is, from an economic development point of view, a win for everybody. Carrie had mentioned earlier about the tourism benefit, but what really strikes me is Cape Charles' name is going to be on the label of every bottle that gets distributed up and down the East Coast and possibly beyond. That I can't emphasize enough how huge that is going to be for the town and for the county and for the tourism economy. So this has my strong support, and I really hope we do everything we can to make it work. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Carol Evans.
Good evening. I wear many hats tonight. Speaking in favor of Cape Charles Brewing Company. And what I'd like to say is that as a personal friend, we have been a part of the Marshall family since they knocked on our door back in the 1990s, talking about a wonderful dream they had to bring to Cape Charles, and that was Delicious, a high-end cookie dough company for fundraising. Very successful and have done exactly the right thing for our community as well as for their business. Secondly, I come as a business owner. Cape Charles House Bed and Breakfast. We love the idea of having another wonderful business in town that will support our mission, and that is bringing people to Cape Charles to get to know us and have a wonderful time and go home with many memories. Thirdly, I speak to you as Cape Charles Bed and Breakfast Association. We as a group strongly support this. We know it's for the good of our town, and we would hope that you would see to do this and support it also. Thirdly, I bring it to you as a chamber member. Northampton County Chamber strongly supports this and sees the value in this for not only our town, but of course for our county. Next would be the Tourism Commission. And you've heard Carrie speak, and you've heard the professionals speak from our county. Please support this as a town. I just cannot imagine it not being part of us. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
No one else has signed up, but I have 2 comments that were submitted in writing.
All right.
The first one is from Nancy Best. says, recently I tried to ask the council representative who in the town offices citizens should contact about their concerns regarding the Coast Guard anchorage. During this discussion, I was told that no one in the town was concerned about this as everyone likes the ships. This may be true, however, I believe that decisions such as this should be made by evaluating data. If you go to the Coast Guard website, regulations.gov, and look up the information on the Cape Charles anchorage, you will see that there are 35 comments on this subject. These comments were made in the 2 weeks that followed the Coast Guard's presentation in Cape Charles. After 2 weeks, they would accept no further input. If you read these, you will see that all 35 are in opposition to the anchorage. There are comments from 4 current town council members, the mayor, and 2 members of the Northampton County Board of Supervisors. These people will always have my support as their thoughtful words display their true concern for the community. There are also comments from the Virginia Maritime Association and the Virginia Pilots Association. Most of the comments refer to harm to the environment and seafood industry. The Maritime Association and the Pilots Association's objections are centered on the fact that the proposed anchorage is not large enough or deep enough to accommodate the ships. At this time, the Coast Guard is considering reopening the dialogue concerning the anchorage. If they do so, the town should be prepared with their response. To me, collecting data and carefully reviewing the facts should be the job of some town employee. It was and is my hope that the town will look at this thoughtfully, using data and determine the impacts of this decision, both positive and negative. As I said previously, it may be true that people love the ships. However, I also know that I personally love cookies and all kinds of chocolate. Unfortunately, when my doctor looks at my physical test results, she says they are not good for my long-term health. The fact that I love these things appears to have no relation to them being in my best interest. At the bottom of this email, you will see a link to comments that were made by a community in New York regarding the proposed anchorage in their area. You might find them to be of interest. Respectfully, Nancy Daniel Best.
Libby, it's my understanding, or rather, Brent, it's my understanding that this letter has already been responded to. Is that correct?
That is correct, Mr. Mayor. Staff continues to monitor the United States Coast Guard site. They've still not reported out. Larry continues to monitor the Federal Register. So we are on top of it. Once we have something to report, we will report to council as well as the committee.
Thank you.
I have one additional letter from the Northampton County Chamber of Commerce. It's Dear Cape Charles Town Council. The mission of the Northampton County Chamber of Commerce is to promote and develop the prosperity of our community as the primary advocate and resource for our businesses. The Cape Charles Brewing Company has the opportunity to draw more consumers and produce large amounts of revenue for the town in many different ways. While craft breweries are popping up all over the United States, Cape Charles is the perfect location because the 2 closest breweries are Chincoteague and Virginia Beach, giving it a destination to the day tripper. People will stay in town and purchase items from shops, creating an increase all around for the Cape Charles transient occupancy tax. Also, the local brewery will support local farmers in Northampton County, which is supporting the idea of agritourism in the state. In the summer of 2016, the average wait to eat dinner in a restaurant on Friday or Saturday was around an hour and a half in town. This tended to drive people away who had made day trips to Cape Charles and forced potential customers to spend their money elsewhere. As the town grows every year and we see rental homes and hotel rooms filling up for the summer almost a year in advance, we need places for these people to eat. The more places to eat, the more the town will receive back on the food tax. Fortunately, the shoulder season in Cape Charles is getting smaller year after year. Breweries are not only summer destinations, but also popular in the fall and winter with darker beers. Another boom Cape Charles has had recently is the wedding industry. Brides from Virginia Beach, Richmond, and Northern Virginia bring their entire wedding party to Cape Charles. Rehearsal dinner locations are needed desperately, as well as venues for any kind of meeting or conference. We are fortunate enough that a family with roots to the Eastern Shore chose Cape Charles as their location to have this productive business on the Eastern Shore. Please accept this letter of support for the Cape Charles Brewing Company's success in marketing Northampton County, as well as the Eastern Shore, as a welcoming place to visit. Sincerely, Nathan Higgins, President.
Thank you. Are there any more comments? Thank you very much. The time for comment, public comment is closed. I need a motion to approve the agenda format.
I'll make a motion.
Is there a second? All in favor? Are there any opposed? The agenda format is approved. I need a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Is there a second? Before we go to vote, there was one question I had. There's a part here where we talked about council, during a previous meeting, town would request an agreement with VDOT for signage in the public right-of-way. My recollection of that meeting is that we were going to ask VDOT if it was possible to do that, not that we were going to commit to do it, which would have required a vote of council. So this was supposed to be information gathering, so is that the way everyone else remembers it? So if we could modify those minutes to that effect, I would appreciate it. Were there any other changes to the minutes that anyone might want? All right, motion has been made and seconded. All in favor of approving the minutes as amended, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Minutes are approved as amended. Need approval of the January 31st, 2017 financial report. May I have a motion? Is there a second?
Second.
Are there any questions on the financial report? I think if you look at it, you'll find that things are looking very good. So, and obviously for the public, that's available for people to look at online. All in favor of approving the financial report as submitted? Speak up, folks.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is carried. Thank you very much. You want to tone down the gavel? All right, next order of business is the Cape Charles Community Trail Phase 2 project update.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor, Town Council, you've seen the staff report in your agenda packet. I want to say not much to the bones of this has changed. I will draw your attention to paragraph 2 under discussion. If you'll allow me to read to you, the contractor has accomplished the following: installed the riprap over the stormwater outfall at Bay Avenue and Washington Avenues, excavated about 3/4 of the trail route on Washington Avenue, completed all demolition work, installed most of the stormwater system, installed most of the electrical conduit for lighting, installed most of the curbing, trail driveways, and lead walks on Peach Street, installed the Filterra system, installed some of the concrete for Washington Avenue Trail. It's definitely a work in progress now that it's started. It's been a long time coming, which is some of the reasons for that is described in the aforementioned staff report. But I would entertain any questions from council at this time.
Any questions?
Yeah, over in
Seabreeze.
We gotta remove those stumps since it's open right now, they cut the trees down.
Yeah, I believe it is part of the project is to remove this, grind the stumps to grade, and then we install new trees as well.
Chris? Yeah, I think the only other question I would have is what's the projected completion date?
It is competing with pyramids.
I thought it was the sealing of the system.
I do not have an answer for that.
It's worth it. I go all the time, it's still worth it.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely worth it. I'm sorry, what were you saying?
No, I do not have an answer to that question.
Okay. I think it explains in here the reasons for the delays. I don't know that it goes into for the delay, but I think the problem was that we had some difficulty getting approval from DEQ. There were some modifications that needed to be made. The approval took longer than it should have, and that changed the contractor's schedule, because he schedules people to come in. Have I got that about right?
Yes, sir, that is correct.
Also, pouring sidewalk and having to clear the sidewalk up.
Well, that was the other piece of it too. There were some issues there.
About the underground power.
I know we were waiting for Verizon. We have a pole that needs to be moved out of an intersection so they can complete the radius in the concrete work. I know that Verizon is over on the 642 project, so hopefully that's an indication that they'll be moving to our project. That needs to be done before any of the paving work can be done. So that is sort of a sticking point at this time. I'm not sure of the underground electrical, and we're supposed to be boring underneath the street before it's done to try to establish a pedestal so the pole can be removed on the west side of Peach Street. So, you're familiar with that?
Yeah, very familiar with the house.
Okay. My vice mayor has suggested that we should give a little bit of an explanation of what the community trail is. Brett, would you like to do that? No. I can do it. And if I'm wrong, you can correct me. You like me to do that anyway, right? So there has been a long-term plan in place, I think, since probably 2007. By the way,
Bring your mic up there.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's even on. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes.
So there's been a plan in place, I believe, since 2007, and the former mayor, who now sits on council, is also well aware of all of this. And the idea is to provide a community trail that connects to Cape Charles. The next phase, what will happen is this trail on Washington Street is going to, on Washington Avenue, is going to connect with the boardwalk, and then the boardwalk already goes over to Mason Avenue. Eventually, the plan is to have a trail that somehow leads over to the harbor. There will also be a connecting trail that goes from Washington Avenue along Peach Street to Central Park, and then to the south side of Peach Street. And so what's being done now is the northern part, Washington Avenue, and the north part of Peach Street. There'll be plantings along Peach, and then the next phase will be to connect the south side of Peach. And so what we're going to be having is a very walkable community, which is something that we would like to feature as part of this place's attractiveness as a place to live or as a place to visit. And so that's the net of it, I think. Have I left anything out, folks?
It started with the Central Park.
Yeah.
The idea, and there will be some
Turn on
signs
your
of
mic. I think
the idea.
Is it on?
Yeah.
Hello?
Turn the switch. Let's pull the switch, George. You good?
I got a big mouth, yeah. The idea is to walk to the doctor, walk to get a pizza, just walk more, and it becomes a walkable town, which is very sought after now in this country. This is where people want to live, in places like this, and have a beer at the same time.
I won't go too much more into this, but interestingly enough, both ends of the age spectrum want this. Us retirees are looking for a walkable community where things are within your reach easily, but millennials also want that. Millennials are looking for places. There's this notion of creative placemaking where you can have a bar to hang out with your friends, or you can do a little bit of shopping, and so both ends of that spectrum are looking for that kind of town. So that's the direction we are going in. Enough said. Next order of business is the Cape Charles Brewery request.
All right, Mr. Mayor, Mark Marshall is here. Brewing Company. Mike, I would just turn it over to his presentation.
Please do so.
Okay, Mr. Mayor,
Wait a minute. Did you bring samples?
I hope, depending on the action tonight, hopefully we will be able to rectify that in the future. Mr. Mayor, members of council, my name is Mark Marshall. I reside at 316 Red Point Drive, Smithfield. It's on the other side of the bay. I've also got a number of members of my family that many of you know. My brother Chris, his wife Meg, my wife Deborah, and the other Deborah, my mother. All with the exception of myself and my wife, all are here residents of the Eastern Shore and have been residents of Cape Charles, and my mother still lives here. So, and I'm a frequent visitor for obvious reasons. And so, so we've got quite a history here. And thank you, the speaker that referenced their business, the Delicious. 20 years ago, they landed here. They ran a very successful business right up here on Mason Street. Ended up being bought out by a large company, Clabber, and they obviously moved in different directions. My brother still works in that industry. I will tell you that the quality of the product that they had was recognized nationally. That's why they were bought out by such a large corporation. And those recipes, by the way, are developed by my mother, and she still makes the best cookies that she's ever eaten. We've obviously got the beauty of the Eastern Shore, this pristine nature of the barrier islands. Mr. Mayor, members of council, what you have today before you is a concept that we started about a year ago. We had looked, the craft beer market has just gone crazy over probably the last 5 to 6 years. Since it's particularly here in Virginia. In Virginia, just even 3 or 4 years ago, there were only a handful of microbreweries. Now, to date, there's approximately 125, 126, 127 breweries. But what it doesn't have is a brewery here in Northampton County. And Hampton Roads is very, very much situated. There are a number of breweries over there, but the market is not saturated. Thus, you see additional breweries popping up, some small, some more than a little bit small. To that end, my brother and I, our family, wanted to explore the idea of putting together a brewery. It ended up morphing to, we really wanted to be in Cape Charles. We really like, this is where they are. This is home for them. It's going to be home for me at some point in the near future. It is a place that we believe is is certainly is poised for growth. Its proximity to a number of urban environments, it's removed enough from some of the ills of the urban environments, but it's close enough where people would certainly make that day trip, would come over here to explore the beauty, the things that the ambiance that this town has built. Look, you guys got the prettiest beach on the East Coast, I think. And so we started looking at it, we looked at properties. And while there were a number of other properties that we looked in some other localities that could give some incentives, we really wanted to try to find something here in Cape Charles. We had some difficulty until the property, the old reliable lumberyard, warehouse building came available. And so when we started looking at that property, it actually had a lot of unique characteristics that made it ideal to start a production brewery, to start a brew pub, and it also had some expanded opportunities that as we could phase it in, would also bring special events, would bring in music venues. And it also sits on the gateway to Cape Charles. It's the first thing you see when you come down Stone Mountain, which is into the town of Cape Charles. So it is very uniquely situated. The problem, the one problem it didn't have was water and sewer. It's got water, it's got a well, it's got a septic, but for craft beer, because it is about the beer, we have, since beer is mostly made of water, we need to have that. And so obviously we've had a number of conversations with the town over the last, oh gosh, probably 6, 7 months at least, looking at how can we get over to that property. There are obviously, as you've seen, it was the last iteration of that particular piece of property was a car collision care center. It has since been cleaned up, and we are now poised to make a number of improvements. And I will tell you, and you all have some of the drawings here, but the improvements to this project are going to be in excess of $2 million. There is just no way to get around it, because we want to have a first-class operation. When you look at the drawing here, this is that car collision care center. Obviously, these windows don't exist. These garage doors don't exist. The wood facade on the front does not exist. Those would be some of those improvements that you'd see. The building is actually 6,000 square feet. We would actually, our architect, the structural engineer, had looked at the building. It would be split in half. Half would be the production side. The other half would be the brew pub with a kitchen and with tables and bar set up. As you can see, there's other activities that are associated with it as well. I mean, we envision having bocce ball, of course, cornhole, tabletop, shuffleboard, etc. And we want to be family friendly, so we want to ensure that we provide a unique destination, not only for the residents here in town, but to visitors, to seasonal, to people that are here on a seasonal basis, and to tourists, people trying to come, that want to go and come to a unique place, a little piece of Americana, and have a good time and a good meal. So as you can see, those are those improvements. I would also, just bear with me for a moment. This is not what it looks like right now. This is, so there's quite a bit of work that would need to be done. But there it is, the cost of why we're going to have to make fairly substantial improvements. If you've been inside this building, I don't know if any of you have been inside it, it actually has some really cool, big beams that, I mean, a number of restaurants and a number of places pay big money to try to recreate. So we've got some structural issues that we're going to need to take care of. But those would be some of those improvements. We envision this as being a place to have weddings, special events, concert, eventually a music venue as well. But that would be a part of it. And then of course you've got the middle of it, and that shows you the layout of the building. It's layout of the property. So it's got what we believe would be really tangible, direct benefits to the town. It'll create jobs. We believe that it'll anywhere between 13 to 15 full-time jobs and probably another 10 part-time jobs. It'll be a destination for Cape Charles. Look, we're naming it after the town. It's Cape Charles Brewing Company. And in fact, we don't have it here, but even our moniker actually has it in the bottle cap and has the Cape Charles Lighthouse in it.
And the brewmaster's name is Charles.
And the brewmaster's name is Charles as well.
It's a match made in heaven.
It's real fun. And by the way, we've looked. We want to make sure that we emphasize the quality. We want this to be a quality place. This is not going to be a dive bar or anything like this. We want to make sure that it's a quality place with quality food, with quality beer. And to that end, Charles Knoll, who we've hired as our brewmasters, 20 years as a commercial brewer from Colorado, will be relocating here to the Cape Charles area. And he's going to be creating some really spectacular beers that cover a wide variety of tastes. Attractive gateway into the town. It will be a good, when you first come into town, and you see that, you're going to know that this is the town of Cape Charles. It'll be the first thing that they see. It'll be a terrific destination year-round for the residents. The seasonal residents, emphasizing quality beer, gourmet pub food, and eventually special events and music. The direct tax benefits. We estimate the meals tax alone, and this is at very conservative levels, but the meals tax alone, within 4 to 5 years, will generate at a minimum of $350,000 back to the town. And in the meantime, spread the word about Cape Charles up and down, because we are also going to be a production brewery, and so we are going to market the coastal corridor. This is a seashore town. We're going to market the seashore way of life, and we're going to go into some of those seashore markets, from Rehoboth Beach all the way down to perhaps into North Carolina, down to Myrtle Beach in South Carolina as well. So that's part of our marketing strategy as well. So, and by the way, it's a 15-barrel production, will be a 15-barrel production facility. Will be capable of producing 10,000 barrels of beer a year when we get up and running. We've got a lot of collaboration from a number of our partners, both here locally with Dixon Leatherberry at Seaside Hops, who cut a local hop grower right here in Northampton County. And we visited with him a number of times, and we'll be partnering with him. We've talked to Josh Chapman up at Black Narrows Brewing, so maybe there's some collaboration at some point. We certainly are going to take advantage of the fresh seafood that we have available here, clams, the oysters, and they will certainly be up on our menu as well. So we intend to try to work to the extent that we can, locally source, try to do as much of what we can, what is possible here locally, both within Cape Charles and in the region. So we are here tonight. I think we can make the business case and ask for the waiver. We also understand that there are a number of competing needs that the town has. And we also know that there is some cost to bring that water line, that sewer line up. But we need a couple of things. We would ask first that you give us as much consideration as possible because of the intensive capital nature of this project, because the brewing equipment, the restaurant equipment, and certainly the rehabilitation and renovation of the property, there are significant costs and capital costs. As I said, it's north of $2 million that we're going to put into this property. But I think this is going to be something that you're going to be very proud of. It's going to be something that's going to be great for both the residents and the tourists, and the visitors to this area. So we would ask for strong consideration on waiving that tap. You all, I guess, have at least we have tentatively approved running the water and sewer line to the property. And then we also, I don't know if it's on the agenda, but we need the resolution for the IRS. Part of our funding model, and I would be very, very candid, part of our funding model is we have put up significant investment personally. So there's significant investment by the family in this property. We have significant investment from some outside investors as well. However, we are going to maintain and retain complete and operational control of the product, the quality of what is going to be on that property. Lastly, we are very vigorously going after some funding stream that has come available through the Industrial Revitalization Fund administered by VHCD, Virginia Housing and Community Development of the state. That application is, in fact, Chris Tucker and his girlfriend have been helping us put that application together. It does require, though, the town to be the principal, to say that this project is important, certify that they believe that this project is important. It doesn't put the town on the hook. What it provides for us is it's a one-to-one match, up to $600,000 of a reduced loan that has to be paid back, 10-year note at 2.5% interest. But it's a small, it's a competing fund. There's a lot of, it's a competing grant. We have to certainly compete, but we believe for lots of different reasons, for all the reasons I just stated and others, that the town, that this project would certainly receive a very favorable rating, at least in terms of consideration on it. And that's part of our funding model as well. So we got a lot of things in place, Mr. Mayor, members of council, but we need your help. We need your help to hopefully make this vision a reality, and then 6-8 months down the road, when you're done with your weighty matters that you have to deal with here at the council, then you can come by and visit us and get a cold libation and a good meal, and it will be open. So, any other questions? If you have any questions,
Andy? I think everybody, I support it completely, but it has to be negotiations.
I think we've done some negotiating already, but there are other areas we have to talk about, I really believe that. I think we've discussed it amongst ourselves. Dara?
I'm so in favor, we've just got to figure out that kink. It's a kink. You're asking for what is given, the same rate given to each business to be completely waived, right?
We think we make the business case to have it completely waived, yes, ma'am. There are other localities that do this, and but we're not interested in the other localities. We want to be here. We want
you here, but we also have to be fair with our other businesses.
Yes,
We'll figure it out.
Well,
We
and
need
that's,
to.
and here's where we are. I also will tell you that we are in a place where we have this IRF and our investors who are, because candidly, our investors were, they're committing a lot in excess of $1 million. Part of the reason that they were willing to do that is because of the the open arms that the town that was welcoming the business and the business model, and so that does play into it as well. We did not build into our budget we didn't build anything in, frankly, for the tap in or connection fee. We did not. However, if a very substantially reduced fee was assessed and spread out over a long period of time, I think it allows us to get our feet up underneath us as well. Over $2 million is a lot of money, and it takes us a little while. We've also got to answer to them.
Well, I think,
Go ahead.
thank you. Being spread out is fair. Spread it. I don't want you to go anywhere else. You know, if that's the dialogue. You know, if you say, you reach high and say spread it out over 10 years, and then maybe it comes to 5. I would give you 10 years.
I would like, for the moment, we'll come back, I would like Brent to take us through the staff report. I'd make the observation that it would have been nice to have had this a day ago, so council could have read it first.
Yeah.
So I'd like to know what staff's recommendation is, how they came to those conclusions, and then we can talk about this and ask some more questions.
Yes, Mr. Mayor and Town Council, I provided you some background, which is all touched on a lot of that.
Did you turn your mic on?
Just talking to you. Mr. Mayor and Town Council, Mark has touched on a lot of the background I've already provided to you within the staff report.
Still can't hear.
Is it on?
Put right up to your mouth.
There you go.
Hello? Okay. What we have, of course, as Mark sort of alluded to, is we have two things. We have the tap or availability fee, and we also have the resolution. As part of the development process, the town code requires these connection charges, which constitute a connection fee and a facility fee for both water and sewer. We have an opinion that full relief is not allowed for in the Code of Virginia, being a delegable state, but there is allowance to be spread out over the multiple years, as we've alluded to. Currently, where the connection fee sits, you do have the tourism zone, which was recently adopted by Town Council. Section 24, 6 allows for a credit up to 50%, of the water and sewer connection charges can be rebated. When I read through the ordinance as the administrator of that ordinance, It has a number of qualifying factors that need to be met. Mark and his group meet all those qualifying factors, so I think a 50% reduction would be warranted in this case. So if we took the 50% reduction and then spread that out over 5 years, I think we come to a much more comfortable number. And that would be the staff's recommendation, would be to, the problem being you haven't applied for the tourism zone yet because it's still a work in progress, so I don't know that the council can specifically grant that, that to the side, but from the administrator's side, when I review our ordinance, like I said, you check all the boxes. You qualify for, would qualify for 50%, and then to pay it out over a 5-year would be much more manageable.
You can come up. My understanding was that the administrator is empowered to grant this, that this does not come to council. That I'm misremembered.
The administrator makes a recommendation to council. I believe the council has final approval.
We too have to have final approval. All right. So, okay, go ahead.
But for 5 years, I don't want 5 years, I want more. Can we do that?
You can do whatever you want.
That's just me. They
Right.
don't fit good.
Okay. Keep the thought. We'll come back to it. No, I'm going to, what's the date when this application to the IRF has to be done? Submitted.
It's March, we have to have it, it has to be submitted in its full and entirety March 1. Because it's a competitive process, we're actually trying to get it submitted next week.
Okay.
And I guess the only other thing is this the amount that we received, Frank, the 65?
Yes. So you'd be dividing that by 2.
By 50%.
And then spreading it over 5 years.
Okay.
Doris asking for 10 years.
Yeah, Doris asking for 10 years rather than 5.
If they want 10.
Absolutely.
Yes.
One of these things is good.
Yeah. Chris, you were going to say something or ask something?
I was just trying to tell them what the connection fees comes down to right now on the, that we have.
Oh, yeah, when, you know, you divided the 50% reduction to bring you to a $32,988.75. Spread out over 5 years, you come to a $6,597.75 per year. That's 5 years. If you want to extend it out to 10, then, you know, those numbers will change. That's under a 5-year repayment.
That was 5
$3,298.88.
I'm sorry?
$3,298 per year for 10.
Okay. So, you think 5 years, 10 years?
You know, whatever, I think, I would think whatever they request, if they wanted to go 10 years, that's what the council member would do.
You're gonna get much more than that fee, I promise you.
But then you get up right away.
So,
Sambo said whatever
yeah,
you
we
are
would
requesting.
like the 10 years. Yeah, we would like to have the longer term.
The only, first of all, I want a brewery in town.
So do I.
It'll have to serve wine so I can bring my wife, but that's another problem. The only concern that I have that I want to bring to council, I want to make sure everybody is thinking of this. We are likely to go down this path with other people for other businesses. So are we willing to give other businesses the same 10-year relief that we are giving to the brewery?
Yes.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, I'm just saying.
We get hit all the
Just-
time for not being business friendly.
No, all I'm saying is that what we do for one, we gotta do for all.
But we are not giving away the rules that we govern by. We are saying, we want you to come here.
This greatly only affects restaurants, period, because of the amount of water that's being used. It's not gonna affect, this is my opinion, it does not affect your average shop that's gonna connect and have a, one-bedroom fee of $6,500.
And I agree with you. You got no argument from me about that.
And the way I look at it, in the long term, these businesses that come in here that are bringing in meals tax, that, I mean, you know my feeling on these hookup charges.
We do. That's another discussion. Discussion for another day, Andy.
I know that. So my feeling on this is yes. I'm more willing because they're gonna bring that much more revenue to town.
So look, I don't even get to vote, by the way, unless there's a tie, but I have no problem with it as long as it is upfront, we recognize that if somebody else comes in and asks for the same thing, we are willing to give it to them. The only other question I've got, what does the ordinance actually say?
In regards to,
Deferment of payment.
the ordinance, I don't think it's cast in stone in the code. I think it gives you the flexibility.
To defer payments, period.
Yes.
We're fine. Mr. Duray.
We worked on a tourism zone for 6 years. It says it's a 5-year limit. If you want to extend that, you can extend it. If you're not extending it under the tourism zone, you're extending it under your right as council.
Thank you, Larry.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Larry.
Correct. And do we have the right to do that?
We have the right to do that, Larry just told us.
You're not doing it under the
As
tourism
the
zone.
boss. We're doing it by right of council,
Right.
Not under the tour,
Tourist.
not under the tourism.
even though they get the benefit of
All right, is there any?
There's an established process for the tourism zone, which Mark can go through.
Larry, stand it.
Under the water, Mr. Mayor, members of council, if you look under the water and sewer connection code, section 70 and 71, you go to where the calculations are laid out, you go to section D, you'll see that it requires or allows for a payment plan is set up by the council. That is separate and distinct. That's been there from day one that you adopted sections 70 and 71. That's separate and distinct from the tourism zone. Tourism zone is 5 years, very specific. That other thing is a payment plan you can set up by right of council. Take your pick.
Thank you.
We still get our money? We just won't.
Yeah, we get the money.
Oh, who's the chief?
What do you guys want? All right, is there any other discussion here?
Only to continue the resolution. The code is not tied to the
Worked on it for 6 years.
connection.
6 years.
Provided you literature, second paragraph under background, as well as second paragraph under discussion, as well as second recommendation. This resolution is part of the IRF application, as Mark alluded to. The Cape Charles Road Company contains specific language that places the entire burden for the up to $600,000 match on the Cape Charles Brewing Company, as Mark said. There are no strings attached for the towns, basically a local endorsement, since the operation, the monies would be spent within the corporate limits of Cape Charles, and staff recommends approval of said resolution.
May I have a motion to approve the resolution? Is there a second? Is there any discussion on this resolution? With no discussion apparent, I'll call for the question. All in favor?
Need a roll call vote,
I do.
And actually, you need to read the resolution because we didn't have notice ahead of time.
And where we, with that resolution?
The last page.
I would say, did you go to Joan Rivers, plastic surgeon, to work on this building?
All right, here's the resolution. Resolution 2001-70216 of the Town of Cape Charles, Virginia. Be it resolved that the Town of Cape Charles wishes to apply for $600,000 of industrial revitalization funds for the rehabilitation of the property situated at 2218-2198 Stone Road, Cape Charles, Virginia, for the proposed brewery brew pub owned by the Cape Charles Brewing Company. Furthermore, it is the responsibility of the Cape Charles Brewing Company to provide the entire necessary match for the funds being requested. Whereas private investors have expended considerable funds to acquire and improve said property, Further additional commitments are being secured from private investors. The total of the private investment in this project is forecasted at $1,590,000. Whereas this project will provide an attractive gateway into the town, furthermore, it will provide a destination that will be enjoyed by residents and tourists frequenting the area. The project will provide over 20 newly created jobs in the community. The Cape Charles Brewing Company will provide direct and indirect tax revenue for the town of Cape Charles. Once completed, this project will stimulate economic development and tourism for the community and region. Be it resolved that the town of Cape Charles desires the project receive funding through the Industrial Revitalization Fund, and the town council wholeheartedly supports this project. Be it further resolved that the town manager is hereby authorized to sign and submit appropriate documents for the submittal of this Industrial Revitalization Fund proposal. Adopted the 16th day of February 2017, assuming we pass this. And I need a roll call vote for this.
Sullivan, yes.
Bannon, yes.
Brian, yes. Rockholz, yes.
The resolution is passed. Thank you all very much. There is a second piece to this that I don't know that we are prepared to do tonight. As I understand, Larry DeRay, we need to pass a resolution that allows them to pay the connection fee over a period of 10 years. Is that correct, Larry?
I don't know that it's written.
I think that's where the rub comes, because the
I'm not the treasurer.
tourism zone,
I'm not the treasurer, but
speaks over 5 years.
the tourism don't speak specifically to 5 years.
So
The section in the water and sewer section of the town code allow council to set pay programs under no time delineation. So the limit is X number of years are required to say.
So we need a resolution.
It's already in the code. Like I said, I'm
Well,
not the
okay,
treasurer, so
what we need to do is to pass that.
Yeah.
To ask council to go through
The
a
treasurer.
motion and a second. And I don't know if we're prepared to do that this evening, but I want to do it as soon as possible.
Yeah, we're prepared.
Are you ready to do that?
Yeah.
You don't have a resolution there.
We don't have to have a resolution. Do we have to have, Libby, a resolution?
Okay, how soon do you need to know?
We really need to know right away, because you all won't be meeting again.
It's a month, yes. It's a month.
We've got several, you could go,
sure that we're doing everything else that really is.
so perhaps you all can make a motion to do it over the terms, the amount set by, as previously stated by staff, at that amount, and then, I don't know.
Well, okay, Andy, go ahead, didn't see you.
Make sure it conveys the business. If it gets sold, it's got to convey the business.
Just looking at code up. Yeah, the tourism zone requires that it be reviewed every year, so they would have to meet the stipulations.
It's just a fact.
Okay, I don't like passing things like this where we have to see that it conveys to the business, we have to do this. I understand that, but I don't.
Well, even, if- we don't have to do it.
What I'd like, yeah,
We don't have to, they have a rule, that this is, as
Well-
long as it's legal, this is what we're gonna do.
what I'd like to suggest, I don't know whether you need the resolution for your investment. But
We approve the resolution for the application.
I understand that, and I guess, as I understand it, that in principle, you all have agreed to what is it, 65, provided by staff, 65,977.50, $66,000, 50% reduction, which would be $33,000 spread over a 10-year time. So if that means that we go to the next council meeting and you formalize that, that's fine. I just need to be able to make sure that, because our investors, we're at the tipping point with them, that we need to make sure that we go back to them with that understanding that the council.
we can do this two ways. We can do it as you have suggested. The other thing we can do is we can approve 5 years with the promise to you that we will come back next month when we have made sure that whatever motion is made is done in the right way, doesn't get unraveled somehow, that we will then extend that to 10 years. What do you think? Chris?
Yeah, I mean, that's.
I think so, I understand, look, you got, we always have to sign off on everything, so I get that.
Right.
But as long as we have this understanding.
Yeah, the understanding is really the important part.
Yeah, understanding, it's a relationship and a trust.
Right. But so you walk out here with something to show somebody,
Yeah.
Yep.
and then down the road, we'll modify it. And Libby will make sure that's on the agenda for next month, please. Thank you. All right, so I need a motion.
Mayor, I'll make a recommendation that we vote for the consideration of the town staff recommends consideration of 50%, 32,000 reduction in water and sewer connection charges to the period of application process, and that 1/5 payments will be collected annually by the town for a period of not exceeding 5 years. Furthermore, we'll look into the 10-year.
Let's do that in a second motion.
Yeah, a second motion.
Is that a second motion? Is there a second for Sanbo's motion? Is there a second? All in favor? Aye. Are there any opposed? Motion is carried. Now, there's another motion we would like staff to, please go ahead, recommend staff.
And that we, after further investigation, if we're allowed to do it, we send it to 10-year period.
Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is carried. Thank you all.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, thank you very much. We appreciate this. And look forward to working with you all.
Good, thank you.
And thank you for other.
Okay, next order of business. Business 2017 harbor
has gone over records for the 17-18 year for the harbor rates.
All right, would you care to speak to any of these, or, I mean, they're more
Yeah,
or less self-explanatory?
everything that's highlighted in green is and everything is, there's no increases. As far as the annuals, there's a decrease in the payment prices. So when you go into a payment plan, that's going to increase by $2 a foot. Last year, in the previous year. We addressed some of the winter rates to try to gain the fishermen in our rock pool season. That's all of our off-season rates, and we've decreased them by roughly $1 a foot. Couple of added benefits are the annual slip holder, a 5-cent discount on fuel. 5 cent, not percent, 5-cent discount on fuel. And then the other big item was to drop the minimum slip to 35 versus 45. Just to make it a little more.
I say we get rid of the minimum, because you're penalizing the little guy.
Okay.
You really are. I mean, the little boat, you know, charge them 35 instead of 20 clear.
We discussed that, and we have one dock that there's an issue, and it is the floating dock. And you have that's our prime area, and we have D dock, which is the only extended slips that people can buy. The rest of them are transients. And in that slip, you have a boat that is 45 foot, he's going to pay 45 feet. You have a guy that's in a premium slip that is 20 feet, and he'll pay for a 20 foot. And it's over half the cost. When you look at the broad spectrum of marinas throughout, the only marinas that don't have a minimum slip are marinas that have an enormous amount of small boat slips. And the only items that are addressed is that they will not give that small boat a large slip. That's why they don't. So when you go to rent a slip in those larger marinas, you ask for, if you have a 20-foot boat, you're going to get a small slip. It's going to be a small floating dock. If we could do that for the time being, and we get our small floating dock slips, and that'll address that issue.
I've been up and down the entire eastern seaboard doing trips in a 28-foot boat and never been charged for
when you're transients, a month or less, we don't charge it.
So then we're penalizing the locals.
Yeah.
That's I don't get it.
There's a lot of
That's what I'm not.
So.
Sambo? I don't like that. Sorry, you have any thoughts on this?
I'm just happy with the numbers we talked about today. Now, I mean, this is we try to meet almost weekly, and we're gonna get the kinks out in your input. He needs to know.
So,
They might bring more boats in.
So this is his thinking.
So, if you look at these rates, you have a chart in here that compares them to other places, right? So it looks to me like we're not the lowest, but we're next to the lowest, which is fine. Do we expect that we will be able to pay expenses and maybe pay enough towards debt service, something towards debt service? In other words, is this a financially sound? I don't know. I don't know enough about it to say.
When you take, there's other factors there, and it's like Scott was talking about with the commercial fishermen. When they're about 40% plus of the total income of the harbor, a lot of that is how well the crabbing season is, and nobody knows until it's over. How long, because this past year, the crabbers stayed, some of them a month to almost 2 months longer than they've ever stayed before. And that generates about 40% of the revenue because of the cost of diesel fuel and the slips, plus the wharf.
So that's a big factor of how well the season does. So far, from what all the scientists say, is projected to be a very good season. And they're starting it earlier this year than they've ever started it before. It starts March 1st, which is right around the corner. If we can fill up our docks, we have those slips available. We can fill D-dock up with smaller boats for sure. We have a lot of seasonal. We have about only 5 slips left anyway, to fill up.
Really?
It'll be first come, first served. So of that D-dock, not of the whole harbor.
Not of the whole harbor.
Right, of D-dock, of that premium slip. And if that isn't full, as some of the numbers we showed, if we can book that every weekend of the summer, it's going to pay as much as somebody sitting there all year. So, and we, right now, all of our holidays, except for Labor Day, is over half to 3/4 booked now already. And one of them is booked already. Okay. It's Memorial Day. So, that's the floating docks. And then the overflow we'll put in the back.
Any other questions? From council? So, is it everyone's sense that we ought to eliminate the minimum?
And that's the harbor master's recommendation, right?
Well, it's a recommendation from council. What do you think about eliminating the minimum?
I think it'll take care of it. If we eliminate it, it'll take care of itself when we take the fixed docks out of the basin, the inner harbor, and put floating docks in, so that, because a lot of people want floating docks because it's so much easier to get off and on, especially for the older.
Yeah, but I'd rather not penalize them now than reduce it later.
Right.
Leave the minimum off, that way it's fair for everybody, so we get, so this way, when I first moved here in '05, there was a waiting line to get a boat.
Yeah.
We've always had a waiting list to get on those boats. And now we have 5 vacant.
On D-dock, we have.
Yeah, but I'm talking the whole overall for season. We never used to have that before. It was always, seasonal was always full. So I'm getting that.
Right,
I
so,
don't think the minimum's fair for a little bit. If he has to put in the big slip, because that's all that's available.
so Chris, what do you think? Dar?
I'm gonna go with the harbor master. If, you say, you wanna do this?
Sure.
I wanna do it.
All right, so do we need to do anything to revise this, or can we vote on this tonight?
The only revision would be is the minimum slip would be removed. And I don't know if that's an addendum to my attachment.
We can just,
We get a motion, I make a motion basically to approve the rates with the removal of the minimum vote.
I'll second that.
any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
I'm sorry,
All in favor
I know, but what?
of approving this with amended to remove the minimum vote slip? Yes.
Yeah.
Any opposed? It's approved as amended. Before you leave,
Sure. Yep.
Dar, you want to talk a little bit about?
No, I'm having Chris moments. Did you see that? About where I was. Yes, go ahead.
No sugar. You want to talk about, it's probably what it is. You want to talk a little bit about, or Charlie, about the amount of money that the harbor has collected year to date?
Yeah, I think that is very important because it's very misleading when you look at the harbor, it's empty. However, talk to us about the money, where we were last year, where we are this year.
What about talking about collecting back?
No.
No.
No? I mean, he can add that in. we're talking about dockage,
Dockage
fuelage,
fees.
wharfage,
Yeah.
hit it.
Granted, the numbers are down, and a lot of that has the factor is the annual slip holders, just due to the fact that they're able to go other places.
Perhaps the numbers of boats are down, but as I look at your report, fiscal year 2016, it's $237,000, about $800 for 16, versus fiscal year 2017 year-to-date, it's $302,200. So that looks to me like it's up. So this is good news. I mean, I don't want to go through why that might be, why that is. It looks like fuel is also up.
Right.
So to me, that says things are improving for the harbor financially, regardless of the number of boats that come in. So that's very good news.
Well, the annual guys are paying their annual dues whether they're posted or not.
Yeah, no, that's fine, that's fine. But if we're going to be also be doing things to improve the harbor, to bring more boats in, I find that encouraging. Okay, so I think that's it, unless anyone has more comments for, why is it like that? Any other questions? All right, thank you very much, Charlie. Have a good rest of the evening.
Thank you.
All right, next order of business is zoning ordinance text amendment. We need to schedule a public hearing. Frank, you want to take us through? Oh, Larry, you're going to take us through.
Mr. Mayor and Councilman Clark, staff's bringing forth a number of amendments to the sign ordinance, subdivision ordinance. These have been through the Planning Commission. At the Planning Commission's February 7th meeting, they set Tuesday, April 4th as the date for a public hearing. Staff is bringing before council. Also Tuesday, April 4th, and for the town council public hearing according to the zoning ordinance. Text amendments are required to have a public hearing before the town council and before the planning commission.
May I have a recommendation to set the town council public hearing?
I'll make the motion, the recommendation to set the joint public hearing with the planning commission, April 4th, on Tuesday, 2017.
And we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? No discussion. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion is carried. Thank you. Planning Commission staff report.
No. Those supporting documentation.
No. Yeah. All right, next order of business is the Virginia Port Authority aid to local ports grant request.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. Town Council. This request comes to you, I need to give you some recently, this has been a fluid process to say the least. Originally, we had intended to spend money that we had received from the Port Authority. We had rolled money over from last year. They also granted us additional $50,000 to put towards the rehabilitation of the town's north jetty, entrance jetty into the harbor. After engineering and taking it out and getting some construction quotes from interested parties that had bid on projects in the harbor in the past, we found that the project was going to far exceed our expected, we'll say, planning level estimate. It was upward in the range of $1 million to rehabilitate that jetty. What we received back was because when the jetty was constructed, even though it's an existing structure, it would not meet current requirements, so we would have to greatly improve from the base up, which drives the cost up significantly. We were thinking $400,000 to $500,000 range. With the bad news, we'll say, it's caused staff to sort of reshuffle and reconsider priorities. In saying that, of course, the fourth breakwater has been on the agenda for quite some time due to the new funding opportunity available with the Virginia Port Authority being this year. We've sort of moved in the direction of attempting to acquire additional funds from the Virginia Port Authority to apply towards the fourth breakwater, which is actually the southernmost breakwater of the 5 initially laid out. I'll give you the specifics. What we're talking about is a roll or carryover of existing funds of $233,000 and then requesting an additional $423,250 from the Virginia Port Authority to make that fourth breakwater a reality. It's a, I believe, 75-25 match. We've utilized the funding quite a bit in the past and hope to receive favorable news as far as this request. Just trying to think if there's anything else I would like to add. One of the advantages we have with the fourth breakwater is that we already have the Virginia Marine Resource Commission and Army Corps of Engineers approval on those permits. So the permitting process would be pretty much covered. There would be some additional design work that would have to take place, but we anticipate that would be complete in September of 2017.
The design work or the
design
work? I'd like a motion to authorize the mayor to request the VPA approved carryover of $233,000 of the existing grant and $423,250 of new grants for offshore breakwater number 4.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion?
Well, that was our priority anyway.
Yeah.
Yep. There's no further discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion's carried. Thank you all. Next order of business is the 2017-2018 Virginia Commission for the Arts Local Government Challenge Grant.
So, Mr. Mayor, Town Council will be aware, the Council, excuse me, it's too late, has been taking part of this program since 1997. Fiscal year 16-17, the town allocated $5,000 as a local match. Staff request approval to submit the local government challenge grant application by the April 3, 2017 deadline, as discussed, which I should probably point you to the discussion. Submission of the application for $5,000 does not bind the town to that amount. Council may opt to reduce the amount to $2,500 during the budget discussion.
May I have a motion to approve submission of the local government challenge grant application by the April 3rd, 2017 deadline as discussed?
I make the motion.
Second. Is there any discussion on this? No. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is carried. Thank you. We are now at the point of the meeting where we have comments, and I've asked the town manager to add a section where he can make comments himself about various things. Okay. Yeah. Actually, you know what? It was his idea. No, I think it's a good idea.
It was his idea, good.
One thing I will say, follow up to the previous discussion on the Virginia Port Authority. We did meet today to sort of present ideas. Other communities that will be competing for those grants, there were 9 other communities present. They included Accomack County, of course the town of Cape Charles, the city of Hampton, Isle of White County, excuse me, the city of Newport News, city of Poquoson, city of Portsmouth, city of Richmond, and city of Vermont. But they were very familiar with the work that has been done in the town, and our project was received very enthusiastically, so that was a good sign. It doesn't mean that we money behind it, but which is a good sign. Just to give you an update, Charter Communications Cable Franchise Agreement, something that's
Can you all hear him?
No.
No.
We can hardly hear any of you.
Even me with my.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
I guess we have to get right up to the
Yeah.
microphone like this.
Yeah.
I hate to do, but we'll do that.
Thank you.
Is this better?
Yes.
Yeah, Charter Communication Cable Franchise Agreement is something that we've been working on for quite some time. Town has actually reviewed that document that was sent off to Charter, I'm gonna say 8 months ago, and it went quiet. Did have the opportunity to meet with the new Director of Government Affairs, Eric Collins with Charter Communication, and that process will be picked back up. Yeah, just yesterday received, town has an opportunity to participate in a pilot project on coastal resilience from now through October. Let's see. Yeah, it's a project that will be undertaken through UVA Institute for Environmental Negotiations, William and Mary, Virginia, coastal, can't even read my writing, I apologize. Policy Center and Old Dominion University Sea Grant Climate Adaptation and Resilience Program. The program really revolves around, referred to as Test the Raft, RAFT, Resilience Adaptation Feasibility Tool. So it's something that we will be looking into. Also, next Thursday morning, staff will be attending a Clean Vessel Act grant, Boating Infrastructure Grant, and Virginia Clean Marina Program in Nassauwatucks. So due to the length of the meeting, I'll keep it short.
It's only 7:30. We've been here until 9 some nights. Any other comments? Comments from any council members?
I do. Sand. Where are we on the sand? We're slowly becoming, Jockey Ridge is taking over Mason Avenue and Bay Avenue.
I can find out.
Well, let's,
They're working down there, I see them.
oh, yeah. Libby, if you can put that on for follow-up at a work session, please.
And I think many will notice the VDOT variable message sign as you pull into town announcing street sweeping will be taking place, I believe, next week. So I do not know if they will venture down to Bay Avenue.
I doubt it for sure.
It's very hard on the equipment.
I'd also like to thank the town manager for having the little trench dug at the dip here so we don't have to wade through water to come into the civic center.
Swim.
That's only been for 10 years now, so we got it done.
Good. Thank you.
We thank VDOT.
Dara, any comments?
I'm just happy to see the public, our neighbors here tonight. I know it can get boring, but it's fun having you here, Carol. It's good seeing you all, and maybe you'll come back. It's informative, isn't it? Yeah. That's my only comment.
Thank you. Sambo?
Chris, sleep over there?
I made my comments.
Oh,
That's
okay.
sound
I don't
good.
see you, not even, you can close to the mic so nobody knows what you're saying.
Oh, he's there and he's alive.
Here.
He's alive.
I don't want to lose the thought about the jet. Now, I know the breakwater is important. If you ever look at the storm that comes in this harbor, it breaks over the jet. All the sand that we're putting out there is going right in the harbor. So we need something done to the jet, and I don't care what it costs. It needs to be fixed.
Libby, will you put that on follow-up as well? For follow-up? Anything else, Sambo? Okay, it's a good point.
I think we did a good job on this brewery.
I think we did too.
On the
On the brewery. They thought we did too. Andy?
I would like to get this on the schedule sometime to go over the cost analysis for these hookups.
What? Please speak.
The hookups, water hookups.
Oh.
Well, I would like to get it on the agenda because I know it's been talked about a lot over the last couple of years. And I know it takes some money to do, but I think we need to get this on here because this is not going to be the only venture coming into town.
You're right.
So we really need to address these hookups.
Calculation.
I mean, for all of it.
Yeah.
So, Libby, capture it, follow up, right?
Got it.
And you have a very highly trained police chief looking over your shoulder to make sure that you do it. Good job, Jim. Any other comments from council? No. You all had to listen to me long enough tonight. I have no comments. Spring is coming, and we're all looking forward to it, and I'm sure things will just continue to get better in this town. Thank you all. I need a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?